It's another DVD and Blu-ray update. Hi everybody, and welcome to another DVD and Blu-ray update. I'm recording this straight after recording the last one, but I don't know how many weeks, days, whatever there is in between me uploading them. But these are basically the rest of a pile of what I'd watched since the last DVD and Blu-ray update. Let's carry straight on with Cinderella. This is the live-action version, starring Lily James. And other people. Kate Blanchett, Helena Bonham Carter, Richard Madden, Stellan Skarsgård, Holliday Grainger, Derek Jacobi. Very good. Yeah, great cast, so you'd expect it to be good. And it is directed by Kenneth Branagh as well. But sort of a nice version of the story, faithful enough to the original without trying to work out, you know, you haven't got talking mice or anything like that. But yeah, very well done. Enjoyed it a lot. Black Swan. Another Aronofsky film. I showed Mother in the last part. Another magnificent film. Great performance by Natalie Portman in particular, but Vincent Cassel and Mila Kunis as well. Really strong. It's, you know, a film that sort of slowly drags you in until it all starts getting a bit strange. But yeah, excellent film. This is The Likely Lads. So this is the film version of The Likely Lads network release, which is very good. It works as a feature-length version. Doesn't try to do anything too, you know, they don't go to Spain or anything like that. They do go on holiday, but it's a caravanning holiday and it's not what this is about. Yeah, works really well. Just sort of an extended episode, really, but not dragging it out. And what's nice on here is that it includes two recently rediscovered episodes from a BBC series. A Star is Born and Faraway Places, both of which are very good. We have Mary Poppins Returns. So I mentioned in my last part, I showed Mary Poppins, which I picked up, even though I had it on DVD. But since I was getting returns on Blu-ray, I thought I would get the original as well. I enjoyed this a lot. Probably not quite as much as the original. I like Emily Blunt's take on Mary Poppins. I like that she doesn't try to be Julie Andrews. I did read a Mary Poppins book, novel, whatever you want to call it, years and years, you know, back when I was of an appropriate age. And I seem to recall that Emily is probably a bit more like the book, the P.L. Travers Mary Poppins, than Julie Andrews was. But yeah, very good. Very good. I think what lets it down a bit is the songs aren't quite up there. There's some good songs as well, but they're not quite up with the peak of the original. Aladdin, for live action version, directed by Guy Ritchie, with Will Smith as the genie. Yeah, good. Nothing wrong with it. I like the animated version. I've never quite thought it as good as people say. You know, when it first came out, people used to rave over it, and when I did finally see it, I thought, yeah, it's alright. Obviously, Robin Williams is magnificent as a genie in the original. I think Will Smith does a good job. He doesn't, you know, he's not trying to be Robin Williams. He's doing his own thing, and he does it well. The sort of enhanced role of the princess, Jasmine, is good as well. Although she had a pretty strong role in the original, they've just beefed it up a bit and given her an extra song in this, and it works. Yeah, enjoyed. Coco, this was magnificent. This is as good as everybody says it is. So Day of the Dead in Mexico. Coco wants to sing, but he's banned by his family because his grandfather was a singer and abandoned his grandmother, and so they banned singing, but he's got a natural talent for it. He ends up travelling into the underworld, you know, where the dead live, and tries to get back and tries to find his grandfather, and yeah, that's all I will say. But yeah, as good as everybody says it is. Weird Science, John Hughes film. I have this on VHS. Don't think I ever got it on DVD. Don't think. But it's a great film. Always loved it. So Anthony Michael Hall and Elan Mitchell Smith, who quit acting after this, hence not being a well-known name, are two geeky teenagers who create a woman played by Kelly LeBrock, who transforms their life and sort of helps them fall in love and get their lives sorted. But it's, yeah, very funny. Kelly LeBrock is drop dead gorgeous. Great film. John Hughes film. I can't remember if I said that or not. Again, lots of extras on that as well. Arrow release. Okay, so True Detective. So this is a box set with the first 2 series, and then that's series 3. Picked these up in HMV. We're having an HBO sale, so I thought I'd give it a go. Season 1, which stars Woody Harrelson and Matthew McConaughey, is magnificent. They basically investigating a ritualistic murder, and it takes them into some very disturbing places. And over the 10 episodes, you know, you find out more about them and their family, and obviously the case and where it leads them. And it's sort of done as a mixture of flashbacks and present day and various stages of flashbacks as well. You sort of get, it doesn't get confusing thanks to some excellent makeup work. Yeah, it's a fantastic series. Season 2, it was okay, but it wasn't what I wanted from a series of True Detective. So Taylor Kitsch, Rachel McAdams and Colin Farrell are 3 police officers, and they get sort of chucked together to investigate the death of this bloke who's connected with organised crime, and in particular Vince Vaughn, who's also I use the term friend loosely of Colin Farrell's character. And they're investigating this murder and the effect it has on everything. But it's not... There's a lot of time focused on Vince Vaughn's character and how his organised crime business, if you like, is going. And less time focused on the main characters. It's done well. As you know, it's really good and it's really well acted, but it's not what I wanted. I wanted something similar to the first season, just with different people and a different crime, and it wasn't that. And I think that must have been the sort of general feeling, because for season 3, they went back to the format of the original season. So in this one, I'm going to have to read his name because I can remember it. Mahershala Ali, and his name's just gone out of my head. Stephen Dorff are investigating 2 children who go missing one night. After a while, this isn't a spoiler because it's only the 2nd episode, I think. The boy turns up dead, but the girl never turns up, his sister. And it's, again, you know, the case gets reopened a few years later, and we see that at the same time as we're seeing the original investigation. At the same time we're seeing them as old men. Mahershala in particular is conducting an interview for a TV programme that's being made about it. He's suffering from dementia. He keeps forgetting things, and, you know, seriously forgetting things, and turning up places and not knowing why he's there and how he got there. You know, middle of a sentence you'll suddenly just blank out and not really know what's going on, and it flashes between those three, very similar to the original. They do even hint at linking it to the original series, although that turns out to be a red herring. But yeah, really good. Not quite as good as the first, but really good, a lot better than the second. And I really like the way they ended this version. So yeah, glad I've watched those. This is a network release of The Love Ban, aka it's a 2-foot 6-inch above the ground world. So this is a sex comedy, so it's from my sex comedy collection. However, although it's a comedy about sex, you know, there's no sex in it. So it's written by Ralph Thomas and Betty Box, so they did the Doctor series. Betty Box was the wife of, if I remember correctly, what's his name? Did the Carry-Ons. No, it's gone completely out of my head, but the producer of the Carry-Ons. So Hugh Bennett and Nanette Newman are a married couple, strict Catholics, so they have many kids, but their sex life has gone, basically. Because he won't practice birth control because of his religious beliefs, and she don't want any kids. So he starts fantasizing. So there is, you know, there's flashes of boobs in his fantasies and things like that. And it's basically about their relationship, trying to get their marriage back together. There's a little cameo from John Cleese, which is very good. Nicky Henson plays the sometime boyfriend of their au pair, played by name's gone, and Howard Reese. Georgina Hale plays Nanette's best friend. Milo O'Shea plays the priest, who has a significant role. The au pair gets knocked up, and it's all about that. But it has its moments, but by and large it's not sort of funny enough for a sex comedy, and it's not sexy enough for a sex comedy. But it's not terrible. But I found myself on my phone whilst it was on. Groundhog Day, which I watched a couple of days ago for the first time since years and years and years ago. Last time I watched this, it was on VHS. That's how long ago it is since I've seen it. From a rental shop not long after it came out on VHS. I like it. I like it a fair bit. I think it's a little bit overrated, dare I say. Obviously it's a great idea and it is very well done. I just don't think it's quite funny enough for a comedy. It has its moments, definitely. But they're sort of, few and far between, really. And, all this, it's more of a rom-com than just a straight comedy, and there's a bit too much rom. For me, personally, don't hate me. Tim Burton's Dumbo, the live-action remake. Really disappointed in this. I love Tim Burton. He's possibly my favourite director. Love the original Dumbo. Problem with this is that Dumbo was a very short film with a very thin plot, and it sort of, the first 20-25 minutes of this is that, and then they have to pad it out to a feature length, so they introduce villainous characters that don't need to be there. It's very well made and it looks good, and Dumbo's done really well, and it's all acted well and it looks great because it's Tim Burton, so Tim Burton stuff always looks great. But it was boring, really. It just didn't hold my interest in any way, really. Yeah. This is NECromantic II, so long-time viewers will remember me showing the first Necromantic, and I said, I'll probably pick up number 2 because I enjoyed it in a weird, dark, twisted way, and so I have, and I've watched it. So, the first Necromantic was about basically a woman who falls in love with a corpse and has sex with a corpse, but all done in a very comedic way. That was a black and white film. It's a German film. This is the sequel, which is in colour, and it's sort of a new story. There is a slight overlap in that the corpse in this is the protagonist of the first film, which rather spoils the end of the first film, but there you go. So he gets dug up by this woman who's a nurse, who treats him as her husband, basically. But then she also meets a real person and falls in love with him and starts a relationship with him. And it's sort of, you know, the juxtaposition of those two relationships and what will happen. It's really well done. Nowhere near as sort of shocking once you get past the it's a corpse aspect. There's, yeah, sort of not as much sex in this as there was in the first one. Not as much gore. There's still some gore. The worst bit of this, gore-wise or anything, and, you know, it did make me sort of, I nearly shut my eyes. There's actually a bit of real-life footage. It was her and a couple of, I think it's 3 female friends who are obviously of a similar bent to her, were sat watching a film about autopsies of seals. So you see this autopsy, basically, you know, being skinned and being cut open and everything, which was a bit upsetting. I didn't enjoy that in any way whatsoever. Lots of extras on here as well. I mean, they're not masterpieces, and they certainly won't be to everybody's taste, but if you, again, yeah, if you, as I said before, if you don't mind a bit of strange, you might enjoy it. You certainly have to have a certain mindset. This is Gas Food Lodging, another Arrow release. Necromantic was an Arrow release. I just realised how long this is taking. I'll try and go a bit quicker. This is Alison Anders' film, starring Brooke Adams, Annie Skye and Fazura Bulk. Fairuza. I always say Fazura, it's Fairuza Bulk. This was great. It's a drama. It's not a great deal happens. So Brooke Adams is a single mother. The other 2 are her daughters. Ione meets a guy, gets pregnant. The guy goes off to work, never comes back. Fairuza's sort of trying to find a guy. She's also trying to find her dad, because she wants to make the world, you know, their whole world better again, basically. But she also meets, as I say, meets a guy. I won't say too much because I don't want to spoil it, but yeah, excellent performances all round. Great film, lots of extras as well. Being Arrow, another Arrow, Demon Lover, which I got primarily for the cast. Primarily Chloe Sevigny, but also Gina Gershon and Connie Nielsen. So Connie Nielsen is an assistant to the boss of a corporation who, pardon me, are trying to land a contract with a Japanese anime porn company. She wangles her way to the top and takes over the contract. Part of the deal is with this Tokyo company is that if they sign with them, they won't have anything to do with... No, that's a lie. They sign with Tokyo company. They're trying to sell it to an American company called Demon Lover, who say that that's far, you know, we'll buy it all, but part of the contract is that you can't sell anything to this other company. And it's, you know, the first half of it is just a boardroom drama, thrillery type thing, relationships between them, very well done, very enjoyable. Then about halfway through, it all gets a bit strange. It's that phrase again, but, you know, it turns out there's twists and turns and people aren't who they seem to be, and yes, I can't say too much without spoiling it. It was good, it wasn't great, but excellent performances. shocking. It contains strong sexual images, violence and sexual violence. That's all in the anime section. It's not real, and a lot of that is edited as well, so you can't see anything graphic. Yeah, it was okay. Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. So Johnny Depp and Benicio del Toro in Terry Gilliam's film about Hunter S. Thompson. I love Terry Gilliam. I like Johnny Depp. I like Benicio del Toro, but I was never fussed about seeing this film. It never appealed. Having watched it, it still didn't do a great deal for me. It was brilliantly done. It looked great. But it was sort of weird for weird's sake, and didn't really... There wasn't really any plot to it. You know, there's no development of character or anything like that, really. It was, you know, it was okay. I didn't hate it, but again, you know, I sort of every now and then was on my phone whilst it was on. It didn't hold my attention, but it looked beautiful. This is for Sign of 4, Sherlock Holmes story. This has got Ian Richardson, that's his name, as Sherlock Holmes. So this was one of the 3, Sign of 4, Study in Scarlet and Hand of Baskervilles, were the 3 Sherlock Holmes novels, and everything else was short stories. It's a good adaptation. Sherry Lungi's in it as well. Done well. It's low budget and it shows, but still the sort of period setting is done really well. Ian Richardson's a fine Sherlock Holmes. He's maybe a bit too cheerful. And this guy who plays Watson, David Healy, who plays Watson, is very much of the bumbling Watson type, but still decent enough. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I have a Hound of the Baskervilles, but I haven't watched it yet. With that, for most people. Place Beyond the Pines, this was fantastic. It was sort of next in the pile, and I nearly didn't put it on because I was in the mood for something a bit more cheerful, but I'm glad I did because I absolutely loved it. It's another one I can't say too much about without spoiling it, but it's basically told over a period of time in this area of America, and it gradually follows 3 different characters, Ryan Gosling, Bradley Cooper, and then who's the lad? No, he's not credited on there. And a 3rd character played by a young guy who I've got the thing. Hold on. Dane DeHaan, who was Harry Osborn in Green Goblin in Spider-Man 2. The amazing Spider-Man 2. I knew I recognised him. And it sort of follows these characters and their intertwining lives. I really can't say much without spoiling it, and going into it not knowing much about it, I enjoyed it all the more for that. As well as those people, Eva Mendes does a great performance, Mahershala Ali, that's him. What's his name? Mahershala Ali, likewise, and various other people as well. The guy who plays Bradley Cooper's son, didn't go much on him. It's the only thing that sort of let me down. But yeah, great film. Sherlock Holmes in New York. Love Sherlock Holmes. Obvs. Roger Moore's in it. What more could you ask for? It was good, actually. I didn't really know going into it what to expect, what sort of take on it would be. But it's a good story. There's sort of elements of Conan Doyle in there, but not a great deal. So it starts with Roger Moore besting John Huston's Moriarty in London, but Moriarty escapes, because he always does. Next, threatening to ruin Sherlock. Next thing we know, he gets Irene Adler always sends him 2 tickets to her performances, and he never goes. He reads that she's about to open in something. Mail comes, but the tickets are torn up, so he heads to New York to investigate why. And can't say too much without spoiling the plot, but Moriarty's there. Won't be any shock, and he's investigating certain things related to that. plus another crime, some stolen gold from a bank vault. But yeah, Roger Moore does a good job. Patrick Macnee does a good job as Watson. Charlotte Rampling as Irene Adler's very good. John Huston can't decide what accent he wants to use. But yeah, enjoyed it. Nearly there. This is the complete Californication box set of all 7 series. I already had a box set of the first 4 plus... No, the first 3 I think it is, plus 4 loose, was it? Let's get this right. Yeah, 1 to 3 when I had season 4 on its own. Never got round to getting the rest. Then this popped up in a sale for like 20 quid for all 7 series. So I bought it and watched it all from the beginning. Absolutely love this series. David Duchovny plays Hank Moody, a successful writer who has a badly adapted but hugely successful film made of his big novel. And it's sort of about his tales in Hollywood, but also and primarily his on-off relationship with the mother of his daughter. Mother played by Natasha McElhone and daughter played by Madeline Martin, together with the relationship of his agent and best friend played by Evan Handler and his wife Pamela Adlon, and the various people in their lives. And as I say, it's an on-off relationship, so he's always having other dalliances, and it's HBO, so it's all very... lots of nudity, lots of swearing, lots of punching and drugs and all the good stuff, you know. Really enjoyable. All the series are great. I don't think I gave any of them less than a 4 out of 5. First series and actually the penultimate series are probably my favourites, but they've all got good stuff going for them. Lots of great guest stars in them. Some playing themselves, some playing... some playing... Sorry, I got distracted by something that popped up on my screen. Some playing themselves, some playing other characters, some playing heightened versions of themselves. But yeah, great series. Can't fault it, really. And finally, for this video... God, it's gone on, isn't it? Sorry. I'll try and edit it down. Ralph Breaks the Internet. So, had WreckIt Ralph originally anyway, and then it was in my Disney box set, so rewatched it quite recently. Loved it. Ralph Breaks the Internet. It got a fair bit of criticism for not being as good as the original, but I enjoyed it quite a lot. It isn't as good as the original, but it's not that far behind. Yeah. Okay, so that's it. That's me up to date with what I've watched lately. Thank you for watching. Like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you in another video. Thanks. Bye.